Beneath the suffocating Florida heat, a twisted tree rises like a monument to evil. Its branches do not seek the sun, but seem like claws trying to pierce the veil. They say the earth around it remains sterile, refusing to nourish any new life. Where blood was spilled by cruel hands, nature itself froze in a permanent scream. In Port St. Lucie, near the impersonal asphalt of Interstate I-95, time stands still. There, hidden in a silent park, resides the dark figure known as the Devil's Tree. This is no common urban legend, but a real landmark of documented horror. The 1970s left an open wound in this region that has never completely healed. The name Gerard John Schaefer is what gives substance to the nightmares of this place. A man who wore the uniform of the law to hide the monster dwelling within his chest. A police officer by day and a relentless predator in the hours when shadows grew dense. Florida became his hunting ground, and this specific tree, his altar of suffering. Reports from the era suggest that Schaefer took victims into the deep solitude of the woods. He used the authority of his badge to ensure that silence would be his only witness. The tree served as an anchor point for his rituals of control and inhumanity. What happened beneath those branches is recorded in confessions that defy human sanity. Current visitors describe a heavy air that refuses to circulate, even on windy days. The temperature drops abruptly as one approaches the gray and peeling trunk. Birds rarely perch there, and the sound of insects dies when the sun sets. It is a zone of absolute silence, where the only noise is the observer's heartbeat. Many claim that the tree retains the residual energy of the events it witnessed. Long, disproportionate shadows are seen moving independently around the area. There is no wind, no animals, only silhouettes that dissolve into the dark. Those who have dared to touch the trunk report a sensation of shock and sadness. The pattern of Schaefer's crimes was meticulous, fueled by a sadism that shocked the nation. He documented his acts in dark diaries, treating his victims as mere objects. The Devil's Tree is believed by theorists to be the center of his purest malice. Police documents from the 70s mention the region as a recurring stage for horror. Investigators have brought equipment to measure electromagnetic fields at the site. The results are often erratic, with spikes in activity lacking any physical explanation. Disembodied voices and whispers that seem to come from the ground were recorded. Science tries to explain the geology, but the spirit of the place rejects logic. Longtime residents of Port St. Lucie avoid mentioning the tree in casual conversation. To them, drawing attention to the site is like inviting the darkness into their homes. There are stories of people who, after visiting, suffered periods of severe depression, as if something had latched onto their minds during those minutes under the canopy. The structure of the tree itself is an enigma, with branches bending unnaturally. Many believe the twisted shape reflects the distorted soul of the man who used it. It is said that past attempts to cut the tree down failed due to strange accidents, blades that shatter and chainsaw engines that die for no apparent mechanical reason. The proximity to the I-95 highway creates a contrast between the modern and the archaic. Thousands of drivers pass daily within feet of a portal to a cruel and violent past. Few know that, beyond the tree line, evil still breathes and watches the traffic. The asphalt brings progress, but the forest holds the weight of something ancient. Records of disappearances in the region during the 70s still have gaping holes. Victims who are never found may be buried beneath the tree's deep, reaching roots. The soil, rich in organic matter, keeps secrets that the justice system could not extract. Schaefer took many details to his grave, leaving the tree as his only testament. Some say that on nights of the new moon, female figures appear among the branches. Apparitions that vanish as soon as the light is pointed directly into the dense brush. The fear is palpable, a static electricity that chills the neck of anyone who draws near. It is not merely a sight, but an instinctive feeling of being hunted all over again. Photographs taken at the site often feature light orbs or inexplicable mists. Many dismiss them as camera glitches, but the frequency of these incidents is alarming. Even modern digital cameras suffer rapid battery drain near the ancient trunk, as if the environment were draining energy for something invisible to manifest.
Have you ever stopped to think that the videos you just watched with flawless scripts and engaging narrations might have been created by someone who never even touched a camera or a microphone? There is a new digital elite profiting heavily behind the scenes of YouTube and social media, building massive channels without ever showing their faces or spending thousands of dollars on equipment. While most people are frozen by the fear of being on camera, These individuals are using the hidden power of artificial intelligence to generate automated content that works and earns for them 24 hours a day. The secret to dominating this game isn't about having a famous face. It's about knowing how to command the right tools to create scripts, voices, and visuals that magnetically hold the audience's attention. I've gained access to a strategic method that reveals the exact roadmap for you to build your own invisible digital empire. Mastering AI to turn clicks into a real source of income. It is the perfect opportunity for those seeking financial and geographical freedom without having to deal with the pressure of being a public figure on the internet. Best of all, you can seize this opportunity right now for a symbolic price. The complete training is under an exclusive promotion, dropping from $97 to just $17. This is your passport to unlocking the knowledge you need to start your professional journey with AI today. Click the first link in the description to secure your spot while this discount is still active.
Criminal behavior specialists have studied the impact of crime scenes on the psyche. The Devil's Tree is cited as an example of a place where trauma has become permanent. Florida's collective memory is stained by the blood that Schaefer shed without mercy, and nature, unable to forget, has transformed into a dark guardian of those memories. The site is not marked, and there are no tourist signs pointing to the horror. Those who find it usually do so through coordinates shared on obscure forums. The solitude of the park contributes to the atmosphere of constant vulnerability. You feel watched from every angle, even when you are absolutely alone. A local adventurer reported finding strange offerings at the base of the tree last year. Small animal bones arranged in circles and black candles, consumed by time. It seems Schaefer's legacy of evil continues to attract equally disturbed minds. Evil breeds evil, feeding on the negative aura that the tree emits to the world. The investigation into Schaefer revealed his obsession with control and torture. He saw himself as a god, capable of deciding who should live or die in those forests. The tree was his throne, a point where he exercised absolute dominion over lives. Today, the throne is empty, but the dark authority of the place remains intact. Testimonies from former officers revealed the difficulty of processing the crime scenes. Many requested transfers or retired far too early after entering those woods. What they saw under their flashlights could not be erased by years of therapy. The roots of the Devil's Tree drink from a fountain of sorrow that is inexhaustible. In 1995, Schaefer was murdered in prison, but the fear surrounding him did not die. Many believe his malignant essence returned to where he felt the most powerful. Could the killer cop now be one of the shadows surrounding the tree in St. Lucie? The silhouette of a tall man in uniform, silently watching from within the brush. Skeptics argue the noises are just the sound of the highway echoing through trees. They claim the movement in the shadows is an optical illusion caused by moonlight. However, the visceral sense of panic people experience there is difficult to dismiss. The human body reacts to dangers that the conscious mind refuses to accept. There are reports that the vegetation around the tree grows in strange patterns. No plant dares to directly touch the main trunk, maintaining a respectful distance. It is as if the local flora itself knows that this specific spot is cursed ground, a biological barrier against a spiritual contamination that refuses to dissipate. Conspiracy theorists link the tree to rituals much older than Schaefer himself. They say the serial killer simply found a place already charged with deep darkness, that he was drawn to the tree, and not the other way around. In a dark symbiosis, Florida's history is full of mysteries that the city's concrete tries to hide. During storms, it is said that lightning strikes the tree with supernatural frequency. Yet, despite the electrical discharges, the trunk never fully burns or breaks. It stands firm, resisting the elements, as if it had a dark mission to fulfill. Witnessing its macabre resilience is to understand that evil has very deep roots. Nights in Port St. Lucie carry the weight of lives cut short far too soon. With every step in the park's high grass, the visitor feels they tread on open graves. There is no peace beneath the Devil's Tree, only an eternal wait for the end, an uneasiness that penetrates the bones and whispers that danger never left. If you decide to visit this place, you must be prepared for what you bring back. Often, what we encounter in the darkness decides to follow us to the safety of home. The nightmare does not end when you leave the park and get into your car on I-95. It lingers in the corner of your eye, in the shadow that shouldn't be there. The story of the Devil's Tree is a reminder that the world has places that reject us, spots where the membrane between our world and the abyss is dangerously thin. Schaefer was the catalyst, but the tree is the anchor that keeps the horror alive. Florida keeps many secrets, but few are as visible and silent as this one. The silence of the site is occasionally broken by the dry snap of a breaking branch. But when you look, there is no one. Only the wind blowing in an erratic fashion. The sensation of being hunted by something invisible is the most common report. Fear is the only language the Devil's Tree seems to understand and project. Investigators continue to search for answers in dusty local police archives. New evidence of old crimes occasionally surfaces, pointing back to the same woods. Gerard John Schaefer's shadow is long and continues to darken the Florida sun. Until every secret is revealed, the tree will remain a sanctuary for the macabre. The end of the story has not been written, as the site remains active and shifting. The legends continue to grow, fed by new accounts from unwary travelers. What began as a killer's stage has turned into an inexplicable phenomenon. The Devil's Tree waits, motionless, for the next curious soul who dares to enter. Psychological horror lies in the idea that evil can inhabit something as common as a tree. That death can leave a physical mark on the landscape. Visible to those who look, Port St. Lucie hides its shame behind fences and silence. But the truth screams out. The twisted tree is the only monument to the victims that time tried to erase. If walls have ears, the branches of the Devil's Tree have vivid memories. They remember the screams that were muffled by the distant roar of the interstate. They remember the cold glint in the eyes of a man who forgot his own humanity. They remember everything, and in their stillness, they transmit that pain to us. Geology and botany cannot explain the aura of oppression emanating from the trunk. Science fails where instinctive fear triumphs with an overwhelming and brutal force. This is not folklore, but a biological response to something fundamentally wrong. The Devil's Tree is a glitch in the matrix of reality, a tumor of malice in paradise. Florida's humid climate rots everything but the legend of this sinister place. It stays fresh in the minds of the locals, a wound that insists on bleeding again. Avoid the park after dark if you value your tranquility and peace of mind. Curiosity has a price, and often it is paid with lost nights of sleep and sanity. Whispers say the tree is growing, stretching closer to the highway every year. Slowly, it tries to reach out to travelers passing unknowingly over the hot asphalt, a silent expansion of a darkness that knows no geographical or temporal limits. Port St. Lucie is just the beginning of a shadow that threatens to cover the state. Schaefer may be dead, but his altar of horror remains standing and functional. Who can say that others have not used that same spot after his tragic end? The energy attracts like-minded souls, creating a vicious cycle of profane rituals. The Devil's Tree is a magnet for the worst aspects of the current human condition. As you walk through the brush, feel the pressure in your chest, a sign of presence. Observe how the compass fails and how direction becomes a confusing labyrinth. The tree doesn't want you to leave quickly. It wants you to savor the fear. It feeds on your doubt and your quickened breath in the middle of the darkness. The sun sets and the lights of I-95 begin to shine like a beacon of hope. But between you and civilization lies the territory of Schaefer and his cursed tree. Every shadow seems to come to life. Every snap of a twig sounds like a step. The safety of the light has never seemed so far away as it does under that canopy. We end this account with the knowledge that many mysteries should not be solved. There are doors that should remain locked, and trees that should never be visited. The Devil's Tree of Port St. Lucie remains there, an enigma of blood and wood. As the world turns, it stands still, guarding the sins of a murderous policeman. Do you believe that locations can absorb the evil of real crimes committed within? Comment your thoughts on this case, subscribe to the channel, and like the video.